So I'm going to read chapter 20, the dainty China country. Before reading chapter 20, I'll talk about chapter 19, the flying trees. Trees move. In the Lord of the Rings, and then there's scenes, and then the trees and moving, and then trees carry um, the characters. That's more. And also other stories, and then there are moving trees. The original story, the flying trees, which attacked the scarecrow and turtle, and so continued and chopped up. It's quite interesting. Okay, here you go. I'm going to read chapter 20, the dainty China country.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 20 The Dainty China Country. While the woodman was making a ladder from wood which she found in the forest, Dorothy lay down and slept, for she was tired by the long walk.
The lion also curled himself up to sleep, and Toto lay beside him. The scarecrow watched the woodman's wiry work and said to him,
"Do not think of why this wall is here, nor what it is made of. Rest your brains and do not worry about the wall," replied the woodman.
"When we have climbed over it, we shall know the wood is on the other side after time the ladder was finished."
It looked clumsy, but the Tin Woodman was sure it was strong and would answer their purpose. The
Scarecrow waked Dorothy and the lion and Toto and told them the ladder was ready.
climbed up the ladder first, but he was so awkward that Dorothy had to follow close behind and keep him from falling off.
When he got his head over the top of the wall, the Scarecrow said, "Oh my, go on!" exclaimed Dorothy.
"Go on!" exclaimed Dorothy. So the Scarecrow climbed further up and sat down on the top of the wall. And Dorothy put her head over and cried, "Oh my!" just as the Scarecrow had done.
Then Toto came up and immediately began to bark, but Dorothy made him be still.
Next, and the Tin Woodman came last. But both of them cried, "Oh my!" as soon as they looked over the wall.
When they were all sitting in a row on the top of the wall, they looked down and saw a strange sight.
Before them was a great stretch of country, having a floor as smooth and shining and white as the bottom of a big platter.
Scattered around were many houses made entirely of china and painted in the brightest color.
The biggest of them reaching only as high as Dorothy's waist. There
were also fatal little barns with china fenced around them, and many cows and sheep and horses and pigs and chickens, all made of china, were standing about in groups.
But the strangest of all were the people who lived in this queer country. There were
mayors and shepherds, and with lifeless colored bodies and golden spot all over their gown, and the princes with the most gorgeous frocks of silver, golden purple and shepherd dressing.
breeches with pink and yellow and blue stripes down them, and golden buckles on their shoes, and princes with jeweled crowns upon their heads, wearing ermine robes and satin doublets, and funny clowns in
Lovely gowns, and with round red spots up on their cheeks and toes, pointed caps.
And strangest of all, these people were all made of china, even to their clothes, and were so small that the tallest of them was no higher than Dorothy's knee.
No one did so much as look at the travelers at first, except one little puffed China dog with an extra large head, which came to the wall, barked at them in a tiny voice afterwards, running away again.
"How shall we get down?" asked Dorothy.
They found the ladder was so heavy they could not pull it up, and so the scarecrows fell off the wall, and the others jumped down, upon him so that the hurt forest would not hurt their feet.
Pains not to light on his head and get the pins in their feet.
When all was safely down, they picked up the scarecrow, whose body was quite flattened out and patted itself.
"Strange place in order to get to the other side," said Dorothy. for it would be unwise for us to go any other way except due south.
They began walking through the country of China people. The first thing they came to was China milkmaid making a China cow.
There, the cow suddenly gave a kick and kicked over the stool, the pail, and even the milkmaid herself, and all fell on the china ground with a great clatter.
Dorothy was shocked to see that the cow had broken her leg off, and then the fur was lying in several small pieces, while the milkmaid and had a nick in her left elbow. There! Cried the milkmaid angrily.
My cow has broken her leg, and I must take her to the mender's shop and have it glued on again.
What do you mean by coming here and frightening my cow? I'm very sorry, returned Dorothy. Please forgive us.
Pretty milkmaid was much too vexed to make any answer. She picked up the leg sulkily and led her cow away, the poor animal limping on 3 legs.
As she left them, the milkmaid scarcely approachable glances over her shoulder at her clumsy strangers howling. Her neck elbow close to her side. Dorothy was quite relieved at this mishap.
Mishap, we must be very careful here, said the kind-hearted woodman, or we may hurt these pretty little people so they will never get over it.
Our little father, John Dorothy, met a most beautifully dressed young princess who stopped short as she saw the strangers and started to run away.
Dorothy wanted to see more of the princess, so she ran after her. But the China girl cried out, "Don't chase me! Don't chase me!"
And she had such a frightened little voice that Dorothy stopped and said, "Why not?" "Because," answered the princess, also stopping a safe distance away, if I may fall down, break my
Did? Asked the girl. "Oh, yes, but one is never so pretty after being mended, you know," replied the princess.
I suppose not, said Dorothy. Now there is Mr. Joker's, one of our crowns, continued the China lady, who is always trying to stand up his head.
He has broken himself so often that he is mended in 100 places, and doesn't look at all pretty. Here he comes now, so you can see for yourself.
Indeed, a jolly little clown came walking toward them, and Dorothy could see that, in spite of this pretty colors of red and yellow with green, he was completely covered with cracks running every which inside.
In many places. The clown put his hands in his pockets, and after puffing out his cheeks and nodding his head at them saucily, he said,
My lady fair, why do you stare at poor old Mr. Joker? You're quite as stiff and free as if you'd eaten a poker.
Eaten up a poker. Be quiet, sir, said the princess. Can't you see these are strangers and should be treated with respect?
Well, that's respect, I expect, declared the clown, who immediately stood up on his head. Don't mind, Mr. Joker, said the princess to Dorothy.
Considerably cracked in his head, and that makes him foolish. Oh, I don't mind him a bit, said Dorothy. But you are so beautiful, she continued, that I am sure I could love you dearly.
Won't you let me carry you back to Kansas and stand you on arms, Mansa? I could carry you in my basket. That would make me very unhappy.
We live contentedly, and can talk and move around as we please. But whenever
any of us are taken away, our joint at once stiffen, and we can only stand straight and look pretty.
That is expected of us when we are on mantels and cabinets and drawing-room tables. But our lives are much pleasanter here in our own country.
I will not make you unhappy for all the world, exclaimed Dorothy. So I'll just say goodbye, replied the princess.
They walked carefully through the China country. The little animals and all the people scampered out of their way, fearing the strangers would break them. And after an hour or so, the travelers reached the other side of the country.
The side of the country I came to another China one. It was not so high as the first, however, and standing up on Lion's back, they all managed to scramble to top.
Gathered his legs under him and jumped on the wall. But just as he jumped, he upset a china church with his tail and smashed it all to pieces.
That was too bad, said Dorothy. But really, I think that we were lucky in not doing these little people's more harm than breaking a cow's leg on a church they are on.
Indeed, said the Scarecrow, and I am thankful I am made of straw and cannot be easily damaged. There are worse things in the world than being a scarecrow. End of chapter 20.
And chapter 2 and T. Okay, done. So now